Hello and welcome to Prime News Live from Studio 1 of My Media Prime Television here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. My name is Fon Quinta and we begin the news with the 8th session of the Cameroon-Nigeria Trans-Border Security Committee meeting, which ended in Abuja, Nigeria today. The two-day session attended by experts from security, diplomatic, economic and finance services of both countries, aimed at discussing security and economic issues. Details with student journalist and internship Young Tennyson.
Cameroon and Nigeria, two border countries who share close to 2,000 border lines, are currently revising strategies aimed at handling common security challenges. The 8th session of Cameroon-Nigeria Trans-Border Security Committee meeting kick-started in Abuja, the political capital of Nigeria, on Tuesday, the 23rd of August 2021. The meeting holding at the Hilton Hotel in Abuja is a follow-up of the 7th meeting held in Cameroon in July 2019. The delegation to Abuja is led by the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, who highlights the importance Cameroon's President Paul Biya attaches to peace and security in and out of Cameroon. The Minet's boss, in a speech during the opening ceremony, encouraged the two countries to show proof of patriotism throughout deliberations so as to propose workable solutions for considerations by the heads of states. Nigerian's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, National Secretary Advisor and the leader of the delegation called for joint efforts needed to fight against insecurity and the peaceful coexistence along borders. Meanwhile, the session's participants went into 4 subcommittees so as to better handle pressing issues effectively. The 2-day session, which kick-started on the 23rd of August, have in attendance experts from the security, diplomatic, economic and finance services of both countries. The Nigerian-Cameroon Trans-Border Security Committee meeting comes at a time when the separatist activities in Cameroon and the jihadists in North Nigeria are rampant. Cameroon's delegation to Nigeria consisted of the 5 governors whose regions share border with Nigeria, that is, the Far North region, the North region, the Adamawa region, the Northwest and the Southwest regions.
Les deux parties ont condamné de part et d'autre ceux qui se cachent.
The two parties have condemned every happening behind refugee camps and trans-border terrorism attack, and together we have agreed to do everything possible to curb this practice through a collaboration with trans-border authorities and the mobilization of the population in the area. This is to help security forces and inhabitants stop using or hiding behind international laws to destabilize neighboring countries.
Et les autorités riveraines empêcher ces bandes terroristes de se cacher derrière le droit international pour déstabiliser les pays riverains.
The Minet boss was equally accompanied by the Minister Delegate in charge of Commonwealth, Felix Mbayu, Secretary of State in charge of the National Gendarmerie Galax, Etoga, Director General for External Research, Maxine Eko, Secretary General at the Delegation of National Security, Divisionnaire Bahia, Director General of Custom, Edwin Fongod, amongst others. Economic issues are equally being discussed. The Abuja Assembly ends today, Wednesday, the 25th of August 2021.
Over in the southwest region, unknown gunmen have burned the only part of government bilingual high school, Limbe, southwest region of Cameroon. The gunmen stormed the school premises early today. Details with Bokengo Wadi.
Gruesome killings, heavy gunshots, kidnaps, fire outbreaks and more are some acts that have plagued the north and southwest regions of the country since the Anglophone crisis started in November 2016. Early this morning, the firefighting unit of Limbe City Council were informed of a fire outbreak in a government school around the Mile 1 neighborhood, Limbe.
We received an alert this morning from a bike rider who informed us that a school at the Mile 1 government school was burning. So immediately I assembled my boys and we came immediately to the spot where we intervened. Though we realized that there was a lot of destruction because the books, we realized that the fire started from the office, the head teacher's office, and we realized some writings which were written Like this one in front here that you see the Little Amber School, and behind over there the other school, it was a new building. We realized that they have also kept a kaya there, which they have written on the wall that they are planning to also burn that area. So we thank God that we arrived there on time and we intervened. So the fire could not really cause more than it has done now.
Arriving the site after 5 a.m. this day, the firefighters succeeded in rescuing just a classroom and desks that were in it from being consumed by the fire incident. They found no electrical fault that may have triggered or caused this incident.
This is the head office, the head teacher's office. You can see all the documents burnt, destroyed, the zinc, everything. This is what happened.
Okay.
So we do not see any electrical fault here that would have caused the fire.
According to eyewitness, this act was carried out by separatist fighters, and the prompt arrival of the firefighters on scene reduced intended damage.
When we got here and the first building was on fire, we struggled and put it off. We believe that because we came on time, that's why they did not set the second building ablaze, because this tire was already placed there for that purpose. They left the sign. If you look in front of the classes, they've written the Amber School, they've drawn their flags. So they want us to know that they are those who came.
It should be recorded that this fire incident adds to the list of educational institutions in the two English-speaking regions of the country that have been multiple times victim to such acts, especially during peak periods of the academic year. Some of these schools include Kas Bambili, Kims Limbe, PSS Nkwen, Mother Teresa International School Kumba, Kulu Memorial College Limbe, and many more. Noting that education is key to success, government is besieged to reinforce security measures in educational milieu in this region for the security, safety of all staff, students, people, and giving a sense of calmness and assurance for parents and guardians.
And to this sad story, at least 6 children aged between 15 and 3 years respectively have died after fire raged their home at the Brazzaville neighborhood in Douala 3 subdivision in the wee hours of August 25, 2021. The inferno burned the 6 children in the absence of their mother, as we hear in the following report. Inhabitants of Quartier Brazzaville neighborhood in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital, are still in shock after 6 children of same family were burned in their house in the early hours of today, August 25, 2021. The 6 victims, Mavel Madino, aged 15, Ange Paloma, aged 12, Priska Mola, aged 9, Prince Netenang Maurice, aged 7, Jodene Takukam, 3, and Aim Takukam, 3 years old, were reportedly burned to death inside their home while asleep.
Tous, le feu les a brûlés tous. Donc ils sont revenus comme ça. Eux tous, non, avant que le feu les ait brûlés, non.
According to reports, the fire began in the room of the children in the absence of their mom who went out for business.
Donc c'est pas que d'autres sont morts avant que d'autres sont revenus. Tous, le feu les a brûlés, tous. Ensemble. Oui, sur le champ. Et la maman est venue bien après que tous ses enfants étaient
Neighbors who rushed to the scene say they were unable to save the kids as the flame had taken over the wooden structure, plus the door was low. The fire, which source remains unknown for now, burned to their 6 kids and extended to other homes, causing enormous material damage. The inferno was put out by elements of the Army Rescue Unit, and neighbors, meanwhile, investigation is on the way to determine the cause of the fire. Now, a humanitarian worker has reportedly been killed in Bamenda, northwest region of Cameroon. The 62-year-old Canadian working for the International Committee of the Red Cross died following injuries he sustained on August 22nd following an attack in Bamenda. Details with student journalist on internship, Susan Batty.
A statement issued recently by the International Committee of Red Cross Yaoundé confirms that a member by name Diomede Nzombambuna, age 62, was victim of an attack staged on August 23, 2021 in Bamenda, northwest region of the country. According to the communique, the 62-year-old Canadian was a delegate working in the field of water and sanitation since 2003 and had been on the contract with the Canadian Red Cross between 2007 and 2012. Reports say he was in Bamenda to provide humanitarian assistance to communities affected by armed violence in the region when he was killed. The circumstances leading to his death is still to be clarified. Meanwhile, in the meantime, his remains have been deposited at the mortuary pending burial. Worth noting is the fact that this is one of the numerous incidents recorded in the restive Northwest region since the escalation of the Anglophone crisis. Humanitarian workers and civilians have come under attack from armed individuals on several occasions. Organizations, individuals, and other bodies have condemned the targeted killings of civilians and humanitarian workers, though nothing much has changed.
Now, the Livestock Fisheries Development Project for the Northwest Lifidep held its 13th steering committee in Bamenda. Committee members came out with 9-point recommendations and resolutions, with calls for these recommendations to be strictly implemented. Details with Charles Kiwa from Bamenda.
The Livestock and Fisheries Development Project for the Northwest Lipidep's 13th Steering Committee meeting held over the weekend, August 21st, 2021 in Bamenda. Lipidep with the overall objective to contribute, increase real income and reduce poverty. The 13th Steering Committee meeting chaired by its Vice President, His Excellency L'Afrique Aldof, sitting in for the President of the Steering Committee of Lipidep, Dr. Tiaga, Minister of Livestock, Fisheries and Animal Industries, meeting within a crucial context marked by the COVID-19 pandemic. Committee members examined the 2020 audit report and progress of projects.
Despite the difficulties of the time, COVID-19 and the general context in the region, the project has been successfully conducted in various activities in the project management unit and board. Since the operator wanted to congratulate them, asking them to make sure always ready to bring the project to a good end and negotiate not only the transitional period but also a new project to be designed to satisfy the expectation of the other population that could not benefit from the first phase of the project.
Governor L'Afrique Aldof called on the population of the region to accompany the project, improve on their living condition and in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic.
Implement the knowledge that has been given to them during the lifespan of the project and make good use of it to improve on their living conditions.
The 13th Steering Committee meeting, special and crucial, came out with a 9-point recommendation and resolutions. Praise management, given a lot has been achieved by the project despite few challenges encountered. Committee members encouraged the project management unit to diligently implement these resolutions and recommendations in the completion of the project's first phase, gradually coming to a close with Midi-No and the management unit to work together, accelerate the design of the second phase of Lifidep to ensure continuity in the project. Follow up executing agency like Minipia and Minipat to effectively allocate and disburse funds for the transition period. New members into the board were welcomed and introduced to members of the steering committee.
We stay in the Northwest region where the president of the National Communication Council, Joe Chebonkeng, has encouraged journalists in the region to remain professional, responsible and respect ethics of the profession. He was speaking during a visit to the region after his appointment as head of the National Communication Council. Details with Charles Kiba once more.
The president of the National Communication Council, Joe Chebonkeng Kalaboso, paid a visit to the Northwest region August 24, 2021, since appointed to head the Communication Council, meeting with journalists practicing within the context of the ongoing crisis.
One thing which I noticed here is what I saw in the Southwest. The journalists are operating under very difficult conditions because of the socio-political nature in which the region has found itself because of the political unrest. Many of them operating under very difficult conditions because many of them were not trained as professionals to cover unrest like what we have in the Northwest today.
The visit was also to encourage the journalists in the region to remain as professionals as possible and to urge them to report responsibly by balancing their stories.
And in conflictual situations like what you have in the Northwest. So for those of them who are operating here, our appeal is that they remain as professional as possible, go close to professional ethics and also be balanced, be daring, but be professional.
Northwest Regional Delegate of Communication, GK Celestine, warned the pressmen not to publish without verifying facts.
With the privilege that we have to have gained all that knowledge with him today, we expect that there will be some substantial changes within the communication landscape in the Northwest within a few weeks.
Before leaving the Northwest region, the National Communication Board disclosed in terms of conflict reporting, seminars will be organized to empower the media in the region.
Now, Cameroon's President Paul Biya has ratified the treaty for the establishment of the African Medicines Agency. The treaty, which was adopted in Ethiopia on February 11, 2021, is aimed at harmonizing African medicine details with Joingang.
The ratification of the treaty to establish the African Medicines Agency was made public via a presidential decree signed by Paul Biya on August 20, 2021. The treaty was first adopted in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia on February 11, 2019, following a unanimous decision by the African Union Assembly. This treaty is regarded as a turning point to enhancing regulatory oversight and facilitating access to safe and affordable medicines across the continent. The establishment of this continental agency that contributes to the improved regulation of medicines, medical products and technologies is, according to the African Union, timely and critical. The main purpose of the AMA is to coordinate ongoing regulatory systems, improve regulatory guidance, complement and enhance collaboration, and contribute to improving patients' access to quality, safe, and efficacious medical products and health technologies in Africa. The African Medicines Agency builds on the strengthened capacity of medical products regulation in Africa and the harmonization of regulatory systems. This journey towards harmonization of African medicine began in 2009 with the establishment of the African Medicines Regulatory Harmonization Initiative and the involvement of many key partners across government, civil societies and industries. Cameroon is therefore the 9th African state who has ratified the treaty so far. However, a minimum of 15 member states are needed to ratify the African Medicines Agency Treaty for the agency to come into force. The treaty shall thus go operational 30 days after the deposit of the 15th instrument of ratification and ascension.
And this press release from the Higher Institute of Management Studies in Buea reads, the general public and education communities in particular is by this notice informed that the Higher Institute of Management Studies Buea does not have a campus in Douala, Cameroon, and does not intend to do so in the near future. The information circulating on social and other media platforms on the existence of a campus in Douala is unfounded. HIMSS operates a campus in Buea in partnership with the prestigious University of Bamenda, the University of the Future. While scholarships are available for deserving students for the 2021-2022 academic year as usual in the programs, HIMSS completely disassociates itself with the proclamation on social media on the existence of a campus in Douala. HIMSS calls on all its focus students to remain steadfast as we committed to providing their educational needs in Buea. Orientation and admission is currently ongoing at the campus in Buea. For more information, contact the management of HIMSS. And news out of the country, the former president of Chad, Habro, he died in Senegal after contracting coronavirus. The ex-president was convicted of overseeing the killing of tens of thousands of Chadians and making life unbearable for his people. Details with Nora Kakepi.
79-years-old Hissène Habré, who was serving a life term in Senegal for war crimes and crimes against humanity, died yesterday, August 24. According to reports from Chad's consulate, the former dictator fell ill in jail about a week ago and was taken to a medical facility in Dakar, where he passed on due to COVID-19 complications. It is worth noting that Habré's regime was marked by very brutal crackdown on dissent, including alleged torture and executions of opponents. An estimated 40,000 people are reported to have been ruthlessly killed during his rule. Human Rights Watch official Reid Brody remarked that the former Chadian dictator will go down in history as one of the world's most pitiless dictators. A man who slaughtered his own people, burnt down entire villages, sent women to serve as sexual slaves for his troops, and built clandestine dungeons to inflict medieval torture on his enemies. The ruthless dictator ruled Chad from 1982 to 1990 with an iron fist until he fled to Senegal after being deposed by the late leader Idriss Déby Itno, who died fighting rebels earlier this year. Habré was eventually arrested in 2013 and tried by a special tribunal by the African Union under a deal with Senegal, and in May 2016 he was landed a life term for war crimes and crimes against humanity and torture. He was ordered to pay up to 30,000 euros to each victim who suffered rape, arbitrary detention and imprisonment during his rule.
More stories on the African continent. Student journalist on internship Nubanai Vona visited Nigeria, Zambia, South Africa and brought back the following.
We kickstart in Nigeria, where gunmen attacked the country's elite military academy, killing 2 officers and kidnapping another. The raid occurred Tuesday on Nigerian Defense Academy, the country's main officer training school, at a time Nigeria is facing a threat from rebels and large criminal groups who carry out mass kidnappings for ransom. Meanwhile, the deployment of troops from Eritrea to Ethiopia's Tigray region has come under scrutiny of the United States and European nations, who have raised alarm over the recent happenings. According to U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, the U.S. is concerned about the large number of Eritrean defense forces re-entering Ethiopia, where 9 months of war have killed thousands of people and sparked a worsening of humanitarian crisis. In other news, Zambia's newly elected president Hakainde Hichilema has been sworn in after a landslide election victory. The 59-year-old president took the oath of office on Tuesday before thousands of jubilant supporters. He defeated the incumbent Edgar Lungu, outgoing president, by nearly 1 million votes and has sworn to diligently and faithfully perform his duties and clean up Zambia's economic crisis. We end in South Africa, whose unemployment rate surged to the highest on a global list of 82 countries monitored by Bloomberg, a company in charge of research, analyzing and producing data to the world. According to statistics, the unemployment rate rises from 32.4% to 34.4% in just 3 months.
And at least 15 people have died in a landslide in Venezuela's western Merida state following torrential rains. These and more other top stories with Eileen Sama.
We begin in Afghanistan, where the Taliban saga is getting chaotic. Thousands of Afghan nationals have been evacuated in recent days. However, the number of refugees seems to be unending. Some families with young children arrived earlier on Tuesday from Kabul to Washington Dulles International Airport in the U.S. state of Virginia, while evacuated Afghan children in Kuwait's main airport were given water by the U.S. military. A flight with a number of Afghans, including many children, also landed at the military base near Madrid, Spain. Meanwhile, thousands more were queuing at Kabul's airport to be flown to safety. Banks in Afghan capital have reopened for the first time since the Taliban takeover on August 15, but many people are still having difficulty accessing their savings. Over 20 people, mainly Afghans, have been stranded on the Belarus border with Poland for over a week as part of an apparent Belarusian attempt to push migrants into neighboring EU countries, urging the Council of European and UN Refugee Agency calling on Poland to help them. In the U.S., as more people are being demanded proof of having been vaccinated in order to work, study, or socialize, a flourishing black market in fake vaccinated cards has sprung up. The operator behind COVID-19 vaccine cards said the brain behind the Instagram account hawking fake proof of COVID-19 vaccination cards was eager to sell, inviting the BBC to move over to an encrypted messaging app to make a deal. For $100, the vendor would deliver a registered card with either the logo of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention or Britain's National Health Service. Payment could be made in Apple Pay or Bitcoin, and delivery would be discreet and within 24 hours. As the Delta variant of COVID-19 sweeps the U.S., businesses, universities and cities such as San Francisco and New York have introduced vaccine mandates to boost uptake of jabs. However, vaccine hesitancy remains high, and the authorities and many others are skeptical that the use of false cards can be stopped. 15 people are confirmed dead in a landslide in Venezuela's western Merida state. Streets in mountain villages were converted into raging torrents after torrential rains hit the area in the Andes. Footage taken by locals showed cars being swept away and boulders scattered over muddy roads. Most of the fatalities occurred in the town of Tovar, where the Macotis River burst its banks after hours of rainfall. In another video, a resident can be heard describing how suddenly a river came out of nowhere, sweeping away a local bakery. Officials said that the electricity plant in Tovar had been damaged and that residents neither had power nor telephone connections. It should be recalled that the Macotis Valley has in the past been hit by deadly mudslides. More than 40 people died and dozens went missing in the area in 2005 when several seas overflowed.
Eileen Summers' report ends the midweek edition of Prime News, compiled for us by Faith Tata. The news was produced by Ewan Nalinga. Ella Primer comes up at 7 p.m. with Kumlena Ranisti. My name is Fon Quinta. I meet again tomorrow. God willing, stay with us. Good night.
Are you stressed out, thinking of the ideal learning environment to accommodate your kids come September? If yes, then relax, because Britannia International School Bonamusa de Douala is what you've been looking for. What makes us unique? Britannia International School offers quality British education across all sections of the school, which include the daycare, early years, and primary section. With Britannia, your kid is assured of the following academic qualifications: the Cambridge Primary Checkpoint, UK KS1/KS2 curriculum national tests, as well as the Cameroon Examination Board, First School Living Certificate, and Common Entrance. Our values include a combined high-quality Cameroonian national curriculum and British national curriculum, excellent care and learning facilities, well-planned and structured indoors and outdoors learning activities, small-sized classes with air conditions, excellent teachers and students ratios, personalized teaching, one-to-one approach.